Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. The first truly great episode of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox took place tonight, November the 1st, 2019. We could thank the Crown Jewel. Thank you, Crown Jewel, for keeping half of the roster hostage over in Saudi Arabia, most especially Vince McMahon. And we can also thank the true A brand of sports entertainment, NXT, for deciding to take over SmackDown and lead us on a road to Survivor Series that's going to be very exciting. But all of this does have some problems and some issues that we do need to address, and we call this show Everything Wrong with SmackDown for a reason. And even though tonight's show was the best SmackDown I have seen in years, I have some concerns, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show Friday Night SmackDown review and reaction show. Let's do it. Woohoo!
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Friday Night SmackDown was great. Friday Night SmackDown, I could sit here and tell you guys for the first time, was a whole lot of fun to watch. It was full of surprises, and we have Triple H and Shawn Michaels and the gang from NXT to truly thank for this evening's tremendous turnaround. And I want to tell you guys right off the bat, as great as this show is, as much fun as you guys had, as fantastic as that whole entire main event was, don't get used to any of this. And that is one of the problems that presents itself when they give us an episode such as this. A themed episode, an invasion of NXT, which can't last forever. We know that NXT is being put into the Survivor Series. They used the mishap in the travel scenario from Saudi Arabia, and they took this opportunity to start the build to SummerSlam, to Survivor Series. I don't know why the fuck I just said SummerSlam. And they did it masterfully. And I'm looking forward to the next few weeks of programming across all three shows are going to be very interesting. It is going to be Raw and SmackDown versus NXT, not Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. At least that's how Triple H has led us to believe it after his promo at the end of the night. And I'm excited. I'm excited about the prospects of a lot of the matchups we are going to get on this road. I'm excited about what they are going to have in store for us at Survivor Series. What type of matchups are we going to be getting? Are they going to have the War Games match at Survivor Series instead of at an NXT Takeover? What is going to happen as we go down this road? It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And that's all we've ever really asked for. We want to watch a show, we want to enjoy it, and we want to have fun. And tonight's SmackDown provided that. The next few weeks are going to be interesting and are going to provide that. But what happens after Survivor Series? What happens after Survivor Series? We're going to go right back to everything going back to normal. As soon as Vince McMahon gets back from Saudi Arabia, he could put the kibosh on all of this. That's what I'm truly afraid of. Somewhere in the world right now, Vince McMahon is losing his mind. Because Triple H just showed us his vision of SmackDown and his vision of the future of the WWE, and it was something magical to behold. And this old man's got to be popping a blood vessel somewhere on a plane. What did he do to my show? We weren't supposed to do any of this. What is he doing? Get Stephanie on the phone. Oh, boss, we can't get Stephanie on the phone. She's part of the show. She's going to have a segment. What? She's part of this too. That's how I see Vince McMahon right now, all red in the face. He's got beads of sweat reminiscent of his son, probably bigger and badder than Shane's sweat going down his face. He's looking over at all his right-handed men and all his glad-handed yes men and he's going, what the hell is going on? How did I get stuck here? And what is going on my show? I have to believe that that's happening. Somewhere in the world tonight, there is a very unhappy multi-billionaire who has been shown up by not being around. This show was a happy accident. And I want more of these happy accidents. It makes me want the whole entire roster that's stuck there to remain there. Stay put. You know what? Keep putting on crown jewel shows with everybody you got over there. Leave everybody over here. And let's go this way from now on. Because this was great. This was great. But it can't last. We'll enjoy it while it's happening. But let's just take 1 second to step back at it and look at the big picture and go, where is it really going? NXT is its own show. We have the brand split, which was just divided and finalized for the most part, and we're supposed to be sticking to that. So a show like this is not going to become the norm. We're not going to be seeing this every Friday. This is not going to be the new generation of the main roster. This isn't what's going to happen. NXT is going to be an entity on its own, and they have their own show. And this was a masterstroke in promoting that show. People are going to tune into NXT now more than ever, being that they're involved so heavily in a Survivor Series main roster storyline, being spearheaded by Triple H, leading the charge and growing this army and doing all of this very special shit. And it's going to be awesome. But my worries come with what happens when it's all said and done. We're going to go back to the shit. But let's not worry about that. Let's enjoy what we got tonight. But don't forget that what we got tonight wasn't all rainbows and gold pots of and pots of gold. Gold pot, that would be awesome. I'd like some gold pot right now. Never mind. Let's not talk about that. Let's get back to business here. And SmackDown started terribly. And you're going to hear people tell you, oh, well, this was a great way for Brock Lesnar to go back on Monday Night Raw since the Fiend. You know what I have to say to anybody that says that? I have to tell you that you're an idiot. Because the WWE gave themselves a very clear out here. There is a very easy way to go about getting Brock Lesnar back to Monday Night Raw. First of all, I don't know why you would make this maneuver in the first place. Paul Heyman wants the Fiend on Monday Night Raw. Fox executives want Brock Lesnar to be on SmackDown. But the WWE is going to do the opposite. We're going to switch them. We're going to switch titles now. Brock's quitting SmackDown just so that he could go fight Rey Mysterio on Raw. That doesn't seem like something worth quitting your job over and going to play somewhere else. I don't get it. I don't get that. Oh, a man half my size hit me with a chair repeatedly after I beat the shit out of his boy. And now I'm angry enough that I'm going to leave SmackDown just to beat up little Rey Mysterio. That's believable to you? That's a reason for Brock Lesnar to leave? If I'm not mistaken, does Fox and Fox and Raw not have a still unfinished trade arrangement? Did SmackDown not get back Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for future trade considerations for Monday Night Raw? Don't you think this would have been an opportune time for Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar to come out and be like, well, listen, I'm Paul Heyman, and I'm here to tell you all that Monday Night Raw has optioned Brock Lesnar. Since you guys have Bray Wyatt, I'm going to take Brock Lesnar to Monday Night Raw because of the trade clause. Logic. Simple. Makes sense. Then I can't sit here and say it's that bad. I can still sit here and say, why make the move in the first place if you're just going to revert back to what we had on the get-go? But, it was made infinitely worse by Brock Lesnar just coming up and, I quit SmackDown so that I could be on Raw because Ray's not going to come to SmackDown, so I'm going to go to Raw. And since we don't want to break the brand split now, we are just going to quit. We're going to take the championship that belongs to this show with us. If you quit SmackDown, don't you have to leave the title that is a property of that show that you're quitting? Stupid. Ridiculous. all for a program that I shit on last night on the Crown Jewel review, or this morning rather, and I will continue to, because I don't care how you think Rey Mysterio is still better than half the roster, or if you think Rey Mysterio can still go 1,000 miles an hour. Why are we watching somebody in their 40s fighting the champion of the world? Because AEW is doing it, we have to continue doing it in the WWE? Is this not the type of stuff that got the WWE into the position that they're in the first place? Goldberg. So I don't understand it. This was absolutely unnecessary. It was a waste of everybody's time, and that's all most of tonight was. There was a lot of time wasting, a lot of filler in between the good stuff. Anytime they wanted to show me full segments from the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, I wanted to turn off the TV because I barely wanted to see any of this the first time. And the show really didn't pick up until the NXT dynamic kicked in. And you have to believe that the executives over at Fox are probably not too happy with tonight's episode. You got to think they're sitting there going, get that robot in here. Where's the guy with the face paint? Get everybody in here. Let's have a meeting. Do you think it's the best idea to have our show, the most expensive show in sports entertainment, the A show of sports entertainment, be shown up by this other show that's brand new that, is supposed to be considered the D show or C show or whatever? You think that's happening anywhere in Fox, or do you think they really don't give a shit? I don't know. I think if they want to give you input and tell the WWE who they want on their shows and who they don't want and what they want to feature and have a heavier sports-themed program, that they would have input into maneuvers like that. Well, they would want to know what we're going to do and, maybe say, well, maybe not. Maybe don't beat everybody. Because there were other ways around even some of the good stuff on this show, which might have been better to do. Most easily, I could make an example of the women's match. This women's match was supposed to be a 6-man or 6-woman tag team matchup, but due to the change in the card, it was made into the championship opportunity that Nikki Cross earned by winning the 6-pack challenge. She's cashing that in apparently tonight. She's getting her women's championship opportunity, fighting the champion Bayley. Bayley comes out, the new Bayley. She's got Sasha with her. They have this match with Nikki Cross, and it is a very standard matchup. Nothing really to get all excited about. And I was very disappointed at the fact that Nikki Cross lost due to the multiple times Sasha Banks interjected in full view of the referee, and the referee had nothing to say about it. You could have had Bayley win via disqualification, or vice versa. You could have Nikki Cross win via disqualification thanks to the involvement of Sasha Banks. Or even better, since you were planning to have the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler come out and jump Sasha Banks at the end of this thing, why not just have her come out there and cost the whole entire match? This way Nikki Cross doesn't have to take a loss. Her championship opportunity is still intact because the match never finished. Bayley doesn't take a loss as the champion. She still looks alright. Sasha Banks is the one that gets beat down by Shayna Baszler, which sets us on a course for Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks, which I could absolutely get behind 100%, and everything would have came out much better without Nikki Cross taking the loss. So as awesome as everything was, my job is to bring this hammer down and show you guys that not everything is all perfect. Not everything is great. And even though I enjoyed the segment a lot, I really thought that they did not have to have Nikki Cross lose here. If you were going to have the outside interference by anybody, why have it happen after the match is all said and done? Why not do it in a way that they can keep everybody's momentum intact and make everybody look still like top stars? I don't understand that. We'll come back to that point in the main event as well. As much as I enjoyed that match, it might have been the greatest main event on the main roster between any show all year long when it comes to Raw or SmackDown. But there might have been a better way to finish that without having to have Daniel Bryan take the loss. By far, one of the things about this night's show that annoyed me to no end was the addition of Pat McAfee to the commentary team. I cannot stand Pat McAfee. Whenever I've seen him on a pre-show panel, when I try to watch and tune into a pay-per-view pre-show, I turn it off because it becomes a P-show, thanks to Pat McAfee. The guy's voice just doesn't sound good in my ears. It annoys me. It's grating at me. His banter, his ridiculousness, his lack of knowledge of the sport. Go back to the NFL and continue to advise punters, the least valuable position in all of sports. And go do that. Get out of my wrestling. He was worse than Renee Young. Why are you bringing in Pat McAfee and not Mauro Ranallo? You want to show everybody how awesome NXT is. Why not bring in your lead announcer, at least for the main event of the evening? But no, I got to get Pat fucking McAfee, former NFL reject, who can't play football no more. All he did was kick a football in the first place, and I don't know why he's got any input or any reason to be part of a wrestling panel, let alone a commentary team. So he aggravated me all night. We go to the back. We have Kathy Kelly with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's talking about all the NXT guys around, and if anyone from NXT tries to stop me, he's going to put them in their place because NXT was his place, and now whatever. He gets interrupted by Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. I would have much rather have seen Matt Riddle confront Brock Lesnar in some way, shape, or form, but that didn't happen here. And this was a little bit underwhelming to me. This, I felt like, was just filler. You didn't do much of anything to really put over Matt Riddle or Keith Lee. Beating up Sami Zayn is like, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything for them. It was mildly impressive. We saw Matt Riddle kick his shoes off. We saw Keith Lee do a very impressive moonsault. We saw Sami Zayn get his ass kicked. Shinsuke Nakamura obviously didn't get to make the trip back home, so he was left out on his own. And you sucked in the enjoyment of having NXT showing face again. You could have written off that first attack by Shayna Baszler as just a solo incident, but now that you have Matt Riddle and Keith Lee around, you're starting to feel like this is going to be a blue-colored edition of NXT, which certainly ended up being the case before the night was over. Matt Riddle and Keith Lee beating the hell out of Sami Zayn, and he was rocked by a knee from Matt Riddle, followed by the bro Derek and the massive moonsault. Everybody loved it. The crowd was into it. The crowd in Buffalo was hot as hell tonight. They were all over this show, and I don't blame them. If you were one of the people that bought a ticket to SmackDown tonight, you're one of the luckiest son of a bitches in the whole entire world, and you should go play Lotto in the morning, because one of you guys are probably going to win, because you hit the jackpot tonight as far as wrestling shows go. If everybody made it from Saudi Arabia, this is not the show you guys were going to get to see tonight. You know that, right? We could hold that against the WWE too, but we're not, because we had so much damn fun tonight. After the Matt Riddle and Keith Lee, Sami Zayn situation, they recapped Tyson Fury and the Big Show. Braun Strowman's encounter from last night, and I didn't care about it last night. I didn't care about it tonight. We really didn't need to go back and show any of this stuff at all. Just ruined what was so far a pretty good episode. Anytime they talked about the Crown Jewel, ruined that for me. But then we had MizTV with a special guest being The Miz. But that was not going to be how everything ended up. The Miz had a special guest turn up, and it would be Tommaso Ciampa interrupting as The Miz was starting to run down some of the guys from NXT. Tommaso Ciampa came out to a nice resounding NXT chant, and he came calling himself the greatest sports entertainer of all time. He says The Miz is everything that is wrong with the WWE. He's here just to be a star. Ciampa says, I broke my neck for NXT, but you're here pretending and playing to be an actor. And then The Miz came back saying, I was hoping that the great Tommaso Ciampa was going to come at me with something better than that. I've heard that same song and dance from many other wrestlers for the last 15 years of my career. And then they challenge each other to a one-on-one matchup. And I'm sitting here like, The Miz? The Miz has got the balls to go one-on-one with Tommaso Ciampa? I need to see The Miz get his face kicked in right now. And surprising to me, The Miz held his own. He had a great match here with Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa getting this win over The Miz on SmackDown tonight is one of the more significant wins in the guy's career. It's in front of the most eyes he's probably ever been in front of, and it makes him look like a superstar. Because most people, casual fans especially, view The Miz as a big guy. The Miz is a top guy. He's one of the only men that could say he beat John Cena in the main event at WrestleMania, winning a championship in the process. He's a big deal. Tommaso Ciampa just came and wiped the floor with The Miz. Good for NXT, bad for SmackDown. One of those moments where I'm sitting there picturing that robot short-circuiting in the back. Why does our show suck? Okay, what the fuck was the robot's name? Cletus. Cletus, why do we suck? I am Cletus. Oh my god. Alright, so the commentators put this over as a very big win for Tommaso Ciampa, as we just did. We then went to one of the best and craziest moments of the night. I enjoyed so much this backstage segment between Daniel Bryan and the two big bosses of NXT, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Daniel Bryan was wondering why NXT is here, and he wanted an answer from Triple H. Triple H said he was answering this supposed challenge and that the main roster has called out NXT, and so we showed up tonight. Daniel Bryan then said, you know what, he just happened to be looking for a fight and challenged Triple H straight out. And he said, why not? We go out and have a fight right here, right now. But Triple H very politely turned him down. The interesting thing happening here, which got my antenna flicking, was as Triple H was letting down Daniel Bryan, you had Shawn Michaels teasing the fact that he was going to be the one to lace up his boots. He started to take his jacket off and make like he was getting ready to be the one to step in. Triple H is like, I know another person that came here ready to fight, and it wasn't Shawn Michaels. He said, now, oh, it's cold in here. He put his jacket back on, and it was a great tease. It was a great, great tease, and it definitely got me because I was so hype in that one moment that we were about to see Daniel Bryan versus Shawn Michaels. And then they went one better. I don't know if it was one better, but they definitely came up with another dream match scenario. Triple H calls in the champ, the NXT champion, Adam Cole, baby. And we are going to get Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan. But Daniel Bryan doesn't want this match without something on the line. And he said, you put that championship on the line and you got it. And that's what we got. An NXT championship match being showcased for the first time ever on a main roster. And in the main event of the show, and against a superstar the caliber of Daniel Bryan. What an amazing choice. I didn't see it coming. A dream match that many of us have wanted to see, given to us tonight. And here's where some of the things go wrong. There's nothing wrong with the match. Even the finish, though they could have finished it in a more controversial fashion, leading to a bigger payoff in the end, there was nothing really wrong with the match itself. The problems come with every time we've sat here and told you guys, oh, well, the WWE's just giving away the main event dream match for free. I can't be a hypocrite. I can't be mad at them for just throwing together AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura with no build and then say, well, this is awesome, and just accept it and say, well, this is a pay-per-view quality match that they're giving away for free with absolutely no build, and everybody's forgiving it and everybody's looking past it because, oh, well, this was an emergency situation. This wasn't planned. This just kind of happened. And what happens when a show that just kind of happened outshines the shows that you plan on a weekly basis? It makes everything kind of look worse, right? But I don't understand why they felt the need to go with such a huge match to establish this NXT versus WWE dynamic, and if that was the case, the way they finished it makes me question it even more. But I am not sitting here telling you that this match was bad. I cannot tell you these things about other scenarios when the WWE just springs on us a dream match, and then I sit here and tell you guys there should be some build and this is bigger than this and whatever. I have to have the same rules apply for a matchup the size of DB versus Adam Cole, especially with championship implications. This was the first time they are ever going to meet ever in the history of wrestling. So I guess we can forgive it just based off of that. Is this building up to a program between the two? It has to. It almost has to at this point, right? This is the starting point. Daniel Bryan's going to not take this lion down, and we're going to have something happening at the Survivor Series based off of what's going on here. But like we said at the beginning, after that, Adam Cole's not going to be showing up with the NXT Championship on SmackDown every single week or on Raw every single week. So they're kind of giving us this great moment now and leaving us to be disappointed later on in the end. But let's, again, try not to focus too much on that. I keep coming back to that because that's my job, is to tell you guys the truth and to tell you that as amazing as this show was and as much fun as it was, I'm scared. It makes me scared for the future because I'm going to get all this great stuff and I'm going to enjoy these next few weeks fully, and then we're going to go back to the bottom of the barrel bullshit that the WWE comes up with on a weekly basis. We had another women's segment on this night. We had Fire and Desire in the ring, and they were waiting on their opponents, Dana Brooke and Carmella. And I am so glad that they decided to go the way they went with this. Instead of Dana Brooke and Carmella making their way to the ring, Carmella's music would start, nobody would show up, the cameras would cut to the back, and we would see Bianca Belair, the EST of NXT, just laying waste to Dana Brooke and Carmella. This would then lead to Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox coming out and challenging Fire and Desire right here live on Friday Night SmackDown. They would then go into the ring and demolish Fire and Desire. They dominated this match for the most part. Rhea Ripley wins the match with an inverted cloverleaf applied perfectly onto Mandy Rose, and that would be the end of that women's matchup. Once again, making the SmackDown stars looking inferior one segment after the other. You gotta imagine Cletus. Our girls are shit. What is happening? NXT. That's fun. That's fun. I think we're gonna be doing Cletus the Robot impressions a whole lot more when we do our SmackDown reviews, I'll tell you that much. First time ever. See, SmackDown Live made me have fun, and even in my criticisms tonight, we're having fun more than ever than right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. But then the fun kind of stopped for a second, just for a mild second. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, after this women's match, make their way to the ring. We're getting set up for our main event, and Stephanie McMahon comes out, and I'm just like, no! Why? Why kill the momentum of this show by bringing this wretch out here? Is it just because it's Halloween? We need to get the witch and the broomstick out? I mean, Halloween was yesterday, bro. We're moving on to Thanksgiving. Most places are already celebrating Christmas. Like, let's get the witch out of here. Stephanie McMahon wanted to come out and just pompously announce everything that I said to you guys last night about the women's match for the crown jewel. The moment, the meaning of the match, the fact that it happened, all fantastic. The participants that they chose left a lot to be desired for those of us here in the States and maybe outside of the Saudi nation, that want actual wrestling and know the storylines going on. But the importance of the match, what Stephanie McMahon was actually saying, was all 100% true. It was a little bit more pompous than it should have been, but it was historic. It does mean a lot, and I feel like they could have had literally anybody else come out and make this announcement, and it would have felt a whole lot better to listen to. If they could have had Paige come out and tell everybody about the women, would have been great. But no, we had to get Stephanie McMahon. I'm all grown up now. I hope you're grown up. You're a woman with 4 kids. Change your song. Alright, back to the good stuff. I'm not used to talking about so much good stuff, so when we get to something bad, I want to just keep hammering on it, keep ragging on it, because it feels good. Because it feels right. It doesn't feel right to be so happy and positive talking about a SmackDown right now. NXT champion Adam Cole defeated Daniel Bryan in a 20-minute long matchup. Commercials, man. Commercials were killing this thing. You would think that throughout the night, if you were going to incorporate a picture-in-picture situation, that this would be one of the moments you would want to do that. I was really annoyed with the 3 commercial breaks placed within the 20 minutes that Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan were going at it. Outside of that, this was a very, very good matchup. The crowd was 50-50 on these guys. It doesn't matter who's good. It doesn't matter who's bad. It doesn't matter that there was no build. It doesn't matter that this wasn't supposed to happen, because as soon as these 2 guys touched, as soon as they locked up, I could sense that we were going to see something great. And what makes it even better is, to my eye at least, a guy like Adam Cole and a star like Daniel Bryan, they know what they are, and they know what they got. And if you think for 1 minute what we seen tonight was anything special, man, that's just the tip of the iceberg. They held back. Visibly, I can see they held back in this matchup because they know they're going to go at it again. And it's going to be even better. And that's the psychology of wrestling. You can't go out there and do all your best shit and do everything for maximum impact right from the first match, right from the get-go. This match itself slowly built itself up. It was very, very hot. It got really big reactions. Adam Cole with that devastating Panama Sunrise. Daniel Bryan coming at him with every stiff kick in the book. It was a great match. A beautifully told story. And in the end, Adam Cole defeats Daniel Bryan. And good on Daniel Bryan for putting over the NXT champion. If Adam Cole lost this matchup and Daniel Bryan became the NXT champion, I would have not said anything negative about it, because it would have sent us on this really crazy path. But that's not the case here. Adam Cole successfully retained. After this, Triple H would have a nice little speech. He would have everybody from NXT come out and he would say some really good shit. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to talk about the fact that this match did not have to have a winner. Much like the situation with Bayley and Nikki Cross. You have the entire NXT roster in the back. Why not have Daniel Bryan lead himself to a place where he's just about to win this matchup? NXT's been running the gamut all night long, and here we are in the most important matchup on the night. And it looks like Adam Cole just might be the one to lose. You just make it look like that, and it makes it seem like Daniel Bryan, the legendary Daniel Bryan, the guy that has beat Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton in the same night at a WrestleMania, sitting in there with Adam Cole. It's believable to think that he could take the strap off of Adam Cole and where that would lead. But why have a winner at all? Why give Daniel Bryan the blemish? Why have finality to a match that has so much to give? Why not have the Undisputed come out, save Adam Cole? You had Triple H and Shawn sitting there at ringside the whole time. They very easily could have been the ones to have done it. Just pull Daniel Bryan out at the opportune time. The referee sees, calls for a disqualification. Or have them wrestle to a point where they go outside the ring and they're brawling within the crowd, and then maybe NXT people were planted in the crowd. Next thing you know, it's a big brawl. SmackDown comes out to save Daniel Bryan, and then you go off the air with the chaos WWE likes to do. Only this time it means a lot more because it's brand warfare and it's NXT. And they've been kicking ass all night long. Cletus is malfunctioning. Multiple times in this matchup, Daniel Bryan did look like he was going to win the NXT Championship. And I was almost salivating just for that. Because if he went to NXT, we're definitely going to get a rematch between these two. And it would have been like just monumental. You want to talk about first time evers and never before scenes. You want people to tune into NXT, you put the strap on Daniel Bryan tonight. But that's not what they did. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't do that because Adam Cole doesn't deserve that. He's a fantastic champion. The Undisputed are killing it right now in NXT. Roderick Strong's been on a run to remember, and it's just everything that happened was very, very good. They could have done it in a different way, but I'm glad that they did it at all. I'm glad that they did it at all. I'm trying my best to remain positive and happy and not focus on what's going to come next. Because as much fun as having NXT on the main shows have been, how long are they possibly really going to be around? After the matchup, when Adam Cole secures a clean, decisive victory over Daniel Bryan, everybody from NXT comes out. Triple H talked about building an army. And he kind of regurgitated the same speech he gave when he was introducing X-Pac as the new member of DX following Shawn Michaels' departure from the group. And he gave almost the same speech, but he tweaked it a little bit. And, I'm going to have to bring the hammer down just a little bit because rehashing something from the past is not something I'm a big fan of. He could have came up with something new and original, I guess, but I guess he wanted to give it that DX feel, so he wanted everybody to have a very similar promo. When you're forming an army, you look to your buddies, you look to your friends, you look to the clique. That's always the classic line from the DX promo. And tonight he did the same thing. You look to your family, you look to your friends, and you look to NXT. And you look at NXT and you see them invading SmackDown tonight. NXT Takeover in progress. And it makes the main roster look like the piece of shit it is. I am so interested to see if there is going to be an upswing in the ratings based off of what happened tonight. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens Wednesday. They might have come upon it by accident, but you can't call it a strategic maneuver, but this move definitely gives the momentum to NXT going forward the next couple of weeks. Who's going to show up? Who's going to retaliate? Is it going to be Raw? Is it going to be SmackDown? Are Raw and SmackDown going to get along and coexist in this war against NXT? Triple H has drawn the line in the sand. He's got his troops. He wants SmackDown and Raw to man up. Who's going to lead them? Vince? Paul Heyman? Brock Lesnar? It's going to be a couple of interesting weeks of TV. So let's be happy about that. At the very least. Thank you guys so much. That was tonight's episode of NXT. I mean SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown. NXT Blue. What a good show, man. Good show. And don't get on my balls. Oh, you still found a way to be negative. Did you see the thumbnail? Right? Did you see the title in the thumbnail? That's what I do here. And I've told you all the time. I tell all of you guys, even the greatest show, I will find something. I will find something to complain about. And it's not just to be a dick, it's because that's what I happen to feel. I see the announcement of Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan. I immediately get excited. And then I come down just a little bit because I'm like, man, why wouldn't they want to promote this with days to go? You want to garner an audience? You want to do a big number in the ratings? This is something you would promote for next week or something you need to build up to and have story behind. And if I say it needs to be that way for AJ and Brock and everybody else, why shouldn't it be the same way for Adam Cole? But the emergency situation and the emergency nature of them not having anybody around, they didn't really have much choice but to spring this on us. And while I was kind of hoping for Daniel Bryan versus Johnny Gargano, they upped it by 100% by giving us this championship matchup and a fantastic episode of SmackDown Live that was 100% enjoyable as soon as Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman left the building. And if you missed it, and I don't say this often, if you missed it, you gotta go back and watch last night's Friday Night SmackDown, especially if you want to jump on board and get on the Survivor Series train, because it's pulling out and it's moving fast and it's going to do some damage, and I can't wait to see who survives. I know you're going to survive because we've survived years of garbage television, and we deserved a night like tonight. And we could say thank you to NXT, and we could say thank you to the Crown Jewel for keeping all of our superstars occupied so that we can get this awesome show. The best thing about Crown Jewel, this is the best thing, and it wasn't there during the review, so I couldn't say it. But wow, the Crown Jewel ended up giving us the best SmackDown Live in the last 5 years, maybe more, and I'm happy about it. Thank you all so very much for being with me once again here. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you loyal and awesome Sledgeheads that make up the family that I am culminating here at the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. We are the newest, fastest rising faction in the entire YouTube wrestling community, and I want you to become a part of it right now. And all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, join the over 2,000 plus that know that when you want your wrestling news full of fun, having a good time, but truth and accuracy, this is the place to be. If you missed anything this week, don't forget to check out everything else on the channel. We took apart AEW. We didn't do an NXT review because of the Crown Jewel review, and I don't think we have to. I think we talked about NXT more than enough tonight that I don't have to talk about that show. Nothing really happened on that show other than the announcement of the War Games anyway, so we don't have to go back and talk about that. But there is the Everything Wrong with AEW review, Everything Wrong with the Crown Jewel, which was a fantastic review and a whole lot of fun for me to do, talking about just how bad everything at the Crown Jewel was, and of course, everything wrong with all of the things we watch in professional wrestling. They'll all be in the annotations up above, as well as the newest installment of the Sledgehammer short series, where I drew the new Universal Champion, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. It took me almost 2 hours to sketch him out. It's a black and white pencil drawing. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should check it out now. It's championship material, you guys, and it is live now on this channel. Go check it out. Sledgehammer Shorts, 3-minute time-lapse speed drawings showing you guys some of your favorite WWE superstars and comics and movies that I love. It's a great series. I enjoy it. I'm trying to launch the Sledgehammer Shorts channel alongside this, but I'm going to be debuting most of the videos here first and then moving them over there. As the subscribers grow over there, we'll deal with that. But this is the main channel. That's the sister channel. This is where I focus all my attention, all for each and every one of you guys. Thank you all so very much. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, which is right here on YouTube.com. NXT.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.